Do you know the word outlandish? What does that word mean? Here are some sample uses drawn from the dictionary. Sherry was wearing outlandish, brightly colored clothes. Jim was known for espousing the most outlandish ideas. Have you heard this word? I'll bet you have. The word outlandish appears just once in the King James. Here's the verse, which comes at the very end of the last actual narrative of the Old Testament chronologically. This is part of an understandable tirade given by Nehemiah against Jewish men who have returned from Babylonian exile only to repeat the sins that got their forefathers exiled in the first place. Nehemiah literally tore their hair out and said, "Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin." Outlandish clothes, outlandish ideas, outlandish women. Now, I've seen these outlandish women. They flounce around in crazy clothes. They do weird stuff. If you search the web for outlandish women, and be very careful, of course, but I did this and carefully avoided anything nasty, here's what did come up when I searched outlandish women. An article entitled 17 Outlandish Women You Never Knew Existed. Now, here's a minor but important FYI, I actually don't recommend that you search for this particular piece. The pictures turned suddenly nasty and I closed the tab. The first outlandish woman was Anita Florchuk, who the website said was 4-time winner of the world's strongest women. They show her holding a man up above her head. She's so strong, they say, that she can hold fully grown men above her head and has become the most successful woman powerlifter in history. The next was a lady who let her hair grow for 8 years, and now it is 19 feet long. The next was a lady who works very hard to make herself look just like Barbie. Another was a lady whose body was almost completely covered in tattoos. Thankfully, they only showed the ones around her neck and arms. Another was a contortionist who could bend all the way backwards and poke her face through her legs from the back. Another outlandish woman has a super long neck because she's from that tribe in Myanmar that stretches women's necks with golden rings. Outlandish women. Now, why would these outlandish women cause Solomon to sin? That's the question. What would make a woman outlandish in ancient Israel? My imagination has been sparked. I'm guessing there was Hatzalel Ponina of the Negev, who could ride 2 donkeys at once while standing up 1 foot on each donkey. Then there were the twins, Abital and Aksa of the tribe of Asher, who could do a dance routine in which their movements were uncannily in sync, like ancient but perfect robots. There was also Mahala, who was incredibly tall and could sing in a strange language that no one knew. And rumor had it that her mother was actually one of the Nephilim. Outlandish women. And they got him. They got Solomon somehow. He loved the circus, I guess, and neglected his kingly duties. They made even Solomon sin. Okay, I gotta stop this now while I stand here at beautiful Blackburn Gardens and my wife cuts flowers in the background. I can't keep pretending that I don't know what outlandish women in Nehemiah 13 meant. But do you know, the Hebrew word translated outlandish here just means foreign. And maybe you can already see where this is headed, but let's trace my usual false friend steps anyway. Next step. Contemporary dictionaries say that outlandish now means looking or sounding bizarre or unfamiliar. That's the sense that I've been assuming in this video. That's the sense in our English. But the Oxford English Dictionary, of course, tells us that in 1611, the word outlandish could mean something different. Of or belonging to a foreign country. Foreign, alien, not native or indigenous. This is quite obviously what the word meant to the King James translators when they used it that one time in Nehemiah 13. The outlandish women who caused Solomon to sin were from outside the land. Outlandish. They were foreigners. He heaped to himself foreign wives in open disobedience to God's laws, and they turned his heart. Now, the Oxford English Dictionary does not call this sense obsolete, but archaic. The same goes for other major dictionaries I use and trust, but I feel certain I have never heard anyone use the word outlandish to mean from a foreign country in my 42 years of life as of this moment. I don't think this sense should be labeled archaic. I think it should be labeled obsolete. It's not that I care to make my point in this video any stronger. I think it's strong enough already. I just love language, and I want to have a fallback in English lexicography if my employment as a Bible nerd ever falls through. So I'm going to take the rare bonus step in my false friends process. I'm going to check a linguistic corpus. I looked through the Now corpus, an absolutely massive free database of written English. I looked to see how the word outlandish is used today. I found outlandish claims, outlandish rumors, outlandish antics, outlandish ideas, outlandish approaches. I found outlandish things, statements, premises, plot points in a TV show, outlandish judicial decisions, sensibilities, outfits, allegations, conspiracy theories, hijinks, hairstyles. I looked through hundreds of recent uses of this word outlandish in written English from all over the world, and I could not find a single instance in which outlandish was used to mean from a foreign country. Do you understand what this means? We are so used to thinking of a language as something defined by the dictionary, and I find I have to repeat this over and over. It's not. The dictionary is supposed to reflect, to describe the way we actually use the language. It's okay if a dictionary, such as the Oxford English Dictionary, takes a broader view of the language, if it catalogs older uses that we don't use anymore. But there is a difference between archaic and obsolete. Archaic means you may still possibly encounter a given sense of a word on the edges of the language or in literature that lots of people still read, say from the last century. That may be so. With the word outlandish, I might find that that word was last used to mean from a foreign country in 1976, if I could spend enough time at this. But people learn their native languages implicitly through hearing them, and later and less so, reading them. They do not primarily learn their mother tongues from dictionaries or even vocabulary lists in school. So if no one actually uses outlandish to mean from a foreign country, nobody can be expected to understand that sense in the King James Version in Nehemiah 13:26. Solomon's story is well known enough, and the etymological parts of outlandish are clear enough, that I will bet a lot of readers are picking up this false friend from context in Nehemiah 13, but I'll bet a lot aren't. Even pretty good readers. Probably especially good readers, because they're the ones who know how the word outlandish is used today. Only a large survey, a study, would confirm my prediction here scientifically, and such a study may be coming, we shall see. For now, though, I hope thou understandest what thou readest in the King James Version a little better.